let's talk to political analyst and Okta Research Fellow, Professor Ranjit Rai. Prof, thank you very much for joining us once again on News and Views.
Yes, good morning to both of you and to all our televiewers. Thank you for inviting me.
Now, Prof, we saw yung here in our report, an interview you gave, and you were mentioning former Senator Kiko Pangilinan and former Senator Bam Aquino. Now, I remember months back, although medyo malayo sila sa Magic 12, every time we talk to mga surveys, they always had good gains. No? So what do you see possible that can happen to both of them, let's say, come a week before election time?
Okay, the possibilities are, are very, high for both of these candidates who are in the peripheries, the outliers. No, they were outliers for quite some time. To now get in, we were kind of surprised by the current numbers, specifically of former Senator Bam Aquino, who gained quite a lot from compared to his January ratings. No?
Yeah.
So together with our report, we provided the media with a summary of all the survey findings since January. So there are three pre-election surveys that were conducted, and gave everyone a chance to see the trend. No? And so the trend for former Senator Aquino and former Senator Pangilinan is they're trending up. And given that in the straight 12 in our March 18 to 24 survey, the number 12 is actually former Senator Manny Pacquiao, 29%. So just imagine, Bam Aquino and Kiko Pangilinan are just 28 and 27%. You know, I mean, that's there's no gap. There's hardly any gap, and given that margin of error, they're basically the same, in the same range, So there's a very strong statistical chance for these individuals, including, of course, and just to be fair, including former DILG Secretary Benher Abalos, current Senator Francis Tolentino, and even Senator Amy Marcos. They all have a statistical chance of, getting to number 12. So, that just shows, that there are how many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people vying for number 12, and then you have at the latter part of the list, people who also have gained a lot over the last month, Salvador, many of the PDP candidates benefited from a sympathy surge, because of the arrest of the former President Duterte, and so it's really a highly competitive race, and those on top, by the way, it's dynamic, even the first 6, there are movements up and down, and so since we still have a long time to go as far as the May elections are concerned, these numbers will change.
Yes.
Our only caution to our own televiewers, is that surveys are just a snapshot. They're not a guarantee of the actual vote, and that they should not be a basis for our vote as citizens. We join everyone to vote wisely to make their vote count, and that surveys are just a snapshot. They're a guide, but they should not be the sample ballot that we will follow when we actually vote.
Prof, before we go to another topic, I want to ask also, since you mentioned Senator Amy Marcos as well, parang whatever she does, she's still at the bottom, and we see that based dun sa mga survey. What do you think po? Ano po ba yung mga dapat niyang gawin? I mean, ano ba yung mga ginagawa niya ngayon na talagang kahit anong gawin niya, nandun pa rin siya sa ilalim?
But we don't know that. Yes, it's true. Her trend, she's trending down. But she's slowly clarifying where she stands on a lot of issues. She is moving towards a campaign that is akin to an independent senatorial campaign, and so we don't know how. We're running another one this month, and let's see. If all her efforts and initiatives will pay dividends. As far as higher voting preference is concerned.
Yeah.
But let me make this very clear. She is still within the winning circle of the top two, statistically in a very good position to and poised to be in the top 12. So very premature to rule her out, and because a lot of people are ruling her out already, but the Marcos name and machinery, it's a well-established reality, in Philippine politics. They always come through during elections. And given where she is now, maybe it was in her own political calculation the best move to make at the moment. But we also have to emphasize this is truly what she believes in. And you heard the hearings yesterday. So you may disagree with her, but this is how she looks at the world, and this is what she believes in. And for some voters, that actually may be an important basis for either voting for her or voting against her. And let's see, it's too early to rule her out.
Pero Prof, some will say na by Senator Amy making known already na where she stands could also be a negative for her because she may totally already lose the Marcos vote, majority of it, because her brother, she's going against her brother, who is the president and who enjoys a big support from the North. And also at the same time, the Duterte supporters are still a little iffy. When you're talking about the majority of them, there are a lot. Some surveys will show they're iffy about her loyalties. So, pwede bang may ganitong effect sa kanya din?
It's possible. It's a very possible. Anything can be possible as far as as far as her situation is concerned. Her numbers are trending down. If you look at her numbers in January and where she is now, it's a massive decline. No, but it's anything can happen, and it's still a long time to go to make, as far as campaign is concerned. And maybe she's making a strategic calculation, as I was saying. But it's not, we still have to measure that. We don't have a survey. I can't really make a statement except to say that all possibilities anything is possible as far as she's concerned. She may go up. She actually could go down. But she's still, statistically, as we speak, in a very competitive position.
Pero, Prof, I wanna ask po kasi about single voting issue, no? Single issue voting pala. Kasi nagkaroon po ng ingay tungkol po dyan dahil po dun sa recent statement po ng LGBTQ community kay senatorial candidate Heidi Mendoza. At tingin niyo po ba, ganun po ba talaga nakaka-apekto ngayon yung mga surveys natin dahil po dun sa single issue voting na nangyayari po among the voters?
Yeah, it could have an effect, definitely. Anything you say now, mishaps in the campaign, misinterpretation of your message, actual faux pas during the campaign, they do matter because in a highly digitized, social media driven age we have, perception, unfortunately, is the reality, and perception is deeply political. So, they better be in their best behavior. As your reports have noted, misogyny, treatments against very strong and organized communities, have to be thought out. These mishaps do happen and they do have an impact. And you can see it even in Senator Amy Marcos' case, her lack of clarity on where she stands, her excessive clarity on certain issues have been created division and a declining consensus around her. So just to answer your question, just to give an example, apart from Heidi, Heidi.
Prof, I'd like to ask you, I'd like to go back to kay former Senator Bam Aquino, because you mentioned a while ago, consistently, he may not be in the top 12, pero his numbers have trended positively amongst all the other candidates. What is the messaging that their campaign is doing right? In other words, is it because they're staying away from all the political noise and just driving home their message of education, among other things?
Yeah, I think it's kudos to the campaign. While they are not yet where they're supposed to be or where they want to be, there are already dividends and gains as far as their campaign is concerned. I'm not a campaign expert, but if you're looking at the numbers, while it's in the last month of campaigning, it's the right time to peak. No, and Bam Aquino, Senator Bam Aquino, and Senator Kiko, they're not just individuals; they're part of a Kilosan, a
Yes.
movement
Yes.
that's been relatively quiet over the last few years, and maybe this will inspire that movement to more mobilize, to come together, and reaffirm their support for not just the individual but for the politics that they stand for. So yun po yung potential nitong in political preference survey, they should have around 10% of the vote.
Okay.
So the traditional Liberal Party opposition, led by the Liberal Party, it should have something between 7 to 10% of the preference. No? So a lot of Filipino, 10% of Filipinos, 7 to 10% identify themselves with this particular movement. So that should kick in, no? And then of course there's all this talk about strategic alliances, no?
Yeah.
The administration helping out because of a common political agenda. That could still happen, and to a great extent we also have to look into the impact of political machines at the local government unit level, no? The congressman,
That's right.
governors and mayors. These alignments could be very, very fruitful for these two aspiring and for the rest, no? Aspirants into the top 12.
Yeah. Actually, that's another angle to look at because some would say yung silence nilang dalawa naman are dragging them down or hindi talaga sila nakakaangat because parang is it really the best thing to do to be silent on certain issues that people may need their opinions or dapat ba talagang nagsasalita sila?
Kumbaga, Prof, sinasabi ni Angel, yung opinion nila regarding President Duterte's arrest. Should they have had at least a statement?
I think their silence is the statement. I mean, does anyone actually believe that they're supportive of the last administration? What they want to do, I think, is to focus more on the issues that they think
Or isn't
voters-
it ayaw nila i-rock yung vote?
Yeah, it's about at this point it's not the goal is not to alienate constituencies, di ba? The goal now is to move to the middle to see while we disagree vehemently and based on principle on quite a number of issues, maybe the focus is what can we do together? Where can we have consensus? And I guess a lot of the campaigns are moving towards that. Issues that can bring us together instead of divide us.
That's right.
So, I mean, I think all the campaigns are doing that, and of course, trying to build their own base of support in specific, regional and local government units, no. And so that will play a key role, given how competitive and how tight this race it will be. Political machines will be important. The resources of the administration will definitely have an impact, and any support that they can get from from any little support they can get from as many constituencies as possible will truly matter, especially in the case of Kiko Pangilinan, but Senator Tolentino, Benher Abalos. Of course, Tolentino and Abalos will benefit from a political machine, the administration.
Administration sila.
That could be, there are no real studies, but some experts are saying between 5 to 10% addition. Of course, there's also the
sa tail end yun, no? Si
support
Sipa.
the support of religious groups. So ang dami pang factors and very
Pero Prof, I'd like to ask you, no, kasi the political landscape has changed drastically in these last 2 years. Dati, it was as simple as Duterte Marcos versus Liberal Pinks. Now you have the fight between Duterte Marcos and the unity has been really divided and broken. Now, yung supporter base nitong Duterte Marcos, which are now at odds ends against each other, where do you see this fallout geared towards? Will it be who will benefit more? Will the Liberal Party benefit more from this fallout? Do you see Marcos supporters identifying now more with the Liberal Party? In other words, kung I voted for Marcos last election, baka I'm open to voting for some of the yellows.
Definitely, the fallout between the Dutertes and the Marcoses have given a space really for alternatives, no? And you're seeing that now. They're flowing up, no? They're moving up. Kiko Pangilinan and Senator Bam Aquino. Of course, I don't think, based at least on our studies
Yeah.
and studies of other experts, I don't think many Filipinos identify with parties.
Okay.
They identify with personalities, with families, and now lately advocacies also. And so to answer your question, yes, the fallout, the fight, the divide, which also divide the nation. When you look at our recent surveys, or our latest survey will release soon, close to 20% of the population are now identify themselves as pro Duterte. And the base of support is in Mindanao, in Central Visayas, and in some other parts of Visayas. And there's a smattering, a small percentage in Balance Luzon and NCR. When you look at the Marcos vote, people who identify with the administration, that's over 30%
Taas,
of the population. It's really Balance Luzon, hardcore in NCR, and some places in Visayas.
Yeah.
So that's 50% of the country already. The other 50% are independents. 40% are independents, and so that's where the fight is now.
That's a swing.
40 people, the swing.
Oo.
No? And of that, something like 30, a little over 30%, a little over 25% are what you call independents. They don't identify with the Dutertes. They don't identify with the Marcoses. And they're very open to being courted by another movement. And that's where I think the opportunity for Senator Bam and Senator Pico will lie. No? The messaging,
Yeah.
I think they should stick to their campaign message, their style, maybe ramp up awareness, awareness building initiatives on maybe online and in TV. Final push. I think and then bring in the big guns, Risa Ontiveros, Lenny PP Lenny Robredo. I think that will really help. Kasi I think what makes them distinct is really that they belong to a movement.
Yeah.
They should reaffirm, in fact, what makes them distinct. They belong to a brand of politics. And people are looking for that. The independents are looking for a new movement to support.
Yun nga. It's good that you mentioned po independent. Kasi nga po, what about the Makabayan Blocks and other independent candidates that are also known for fighting their own principles or standing on their own principles? Pero kahit anong pang nangyayari ngayon, yung pagwawatak ng unity, etc. At some point, yung mga kababayan natin, sabi nila, nasusuka na sila sa ganitong usapin ng political. Pero kahit papano, hindi pa rin po umaangat yung mga ganong klaseng kandidato. And we see still familiar
Mga
names
progressives
sa surveys.
Yeah, that's true. It's unfortunate. When you look at the slate of the left, these are full of people who are not just makabayan, they're also really competent individuals. I won't go beyond that because the civil service is going to automatically. But the thing is, but that being said, competence, performance, while it's understood by many of our voters, popularity, awareness of the individual, the political name, political families, these things still matter in the population.
Machinery,
Yeah, and so it's still hard for progressive groups to break into, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't run and they should not they shouldn't continue talking about the advocacies that they support. Same is also with Senator Bam, the Liberal Party has been truly politically sidelined, and maybe a win will be useful for their movement, for resurgence of their kind of movement. Because I think a lot of Filipinos are looking for another brand of politics beyond the Marcos and Duterte. It's a big chunk, that's around 25 to 30. If you include those who have, not independents, but really who don't want to classify themselves. That's close to 40% of all Filipinos, no? And so parang ang daming opportunity for progressive politics to emerge.
Yeah,
I guess
that's right.
the important role is for individuals to stop becoming individuals and become citizens and truly study, truly advocate, and meaningfully participate in the life of our country through, progressive politics. And for me, to help educate our own citizens about issues, about why we should vote for, who should we vote for. So I mean, it's a whole of nation approach, na, and I believe, no, I'm always positive naman, optimistic that our politics will improve and evolve over time.
Last question na po, since you mentioned CSC, what do you make of that memo given by the CSC, yung kanilang warning sa mga government officials, uniform personnel about engaging in any political activity,
On
even
SOCMED.
liking, sharing, diba, yung mga articles that are for or against a certain political personality. Sa tingin niyo po ba, does it curtail our freedom of expression?
But before I make that comment, no, I think I agree with the CSC in terms of reaffirming and reasserting that government employees should be impartial.
Yeah.
They should not engage in political activities. No, that's been there ever since, and it's important principle in any bureaucracy. No, that the bureaucracy remains neutral. But of course, if the CSC can clarify further beyond their memo what they actually mean, then we don't have these fears, no, of the memo curtailing our freedom of expression. It's important, no, that there's a balance, and I feel that the civil service needs to clarify is the details that they put in that memo.
Yeah.
And I think with that clarification, people will act appropriately, especially our government employees. But again, there's a balance, a fine line, no, between in the enforcement of their memo and the possibility, no, that it can be construed as a violation of our everyday rights as citizens. Lalo kasi sa social media, it's so hard to to police that and to discipline ourselves also.
That's right. That's right.
Gray areas.
Well,
Gray areas, yes, you're right.
well, thank you very much, Prof, for your time. It was a good discussion, but we hope to have you back again. With that was political analyst and Okta Research Fellow, Professor Ranjit Rai.